Let's get back to some news here at home. Ahead of next week's budget, the finance minister has announced some changes aimed at first-time homebuyers reeling from the housing crunch.
Effective August 1st of this year, we are allowing 30-year amortizations on insured mortgages for first-time homebuyers purchasing newly built homes. That, of course, includes condos and townhouses. First-time homebuyers will now have 30 years to pay off their mortgage instead of 25. That translates to lower monthly payments, so more younger Canadians can afford to pay that monthly mortgage.
For more on this, let's bring in Jeannie Lee. Jeannie, what difference could this potentially make for buyers who qualify, at least based on what she's saying there about who qualifies?
Right, so who qualifies would be buyers of first-time buyers of a newly built home and those who need mortgage insurance. And that means buyers who have very little down, in most cases the minimum, which would be 5%. So anywhere between 5 and 20% down, you would have to have insurance. Those are the people that we're talking about who would get this particular break. And on paper, it does what it's aimed to do, which is to give buyers who've been locked out of the market a little bit of hope. This is what this announcement is about, obviously. But let's look on paper what the real life impact would be. Let's look at an example of a $750,000 home where you would have to put $50,000 down. That is the minimum down payment on a home of that level, and you would have a 5% mortgage rate. These are just examples. Now, with a 30-year loan, the payments would be $349 less every month, and that sounds pretty good, especially when you consider that in many municipalities, Toronto and Vancouver in particular, you'd have to pay more for a house, and so you'd end up saving more on a 30-year amortization. But remember that debt lasts an extra 5 years, and interest being what it is, snowballs, and you pay a lot more interest over the life of that loan, the 30-year loan. The other thing is, a lot of people will look at it differently. They'll say, hey, I'm saving $349 a month. Well, you know, if I pay that, I can buy $60,000 more house. That is obviously human nature at play, and what that does is then it drives up the price of homes in that category, because then more competition will be created at all levels of pricing, actually, among first-time buyers who want to take advantage of this. And the other part of this whole equation is, sure, it's great to have policies that promote hope, and what that causes, though, is a spike in demand at a time when we already know there is a very short supply of new homes, which is the other qualifying factor of this new measure.
Yeah, interesting that the date is August 1st, that it would start kind of skipping over the spring housing market potentially there. What you outlined there, Jeannie, in terms of the potential consequences for the buyer, maybe paying or definitely paying more interest over the long term if they're doing 30 years instead of 25, but also the potential impact on increased demand, both important to consider. Are there other potential side effects?
Well, simply that when you create all this demand, you have to look at what is being done about supply. I don't know if this is coincidental, but at the same time today, we heard from a home builders group in Canada, and we've heard from home builders before, all various associations of home builders, and they're saying that, reminding people, hey, we have a serious shortage of skilled labor. And so this particular group is saying there's a shortage of almost 1 million workers, actually over 1 million, just over 1 million. If we are to meet that goal of the number of homes that are needed to be put into the system in order to bring down prices. And we know why. Older tradespeople are retiring, not enough young people are coming into the system. Meanwhile, there is this huge demand and push for new homes to be built. So that's a problem. You can have all kinds of policies, but you have to have the supplies and the policies that support those supplies as well. So there you have it. Jacqueline, what else have I got here in terms of impact? The other thing that we didn't talk about is 30 years. The more people have debt, and the longer they have the debt, that's less money that they can spend on other things, including just stoking the economy, also saving for their own retirement or maybe their kids' education, and of course the many inevitable repairs that are needed over the 30 years of that home, which of course keeps deteriorating every minute that we sit here and speak. Jacqueline.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not just the cost of the mortgage. That's
exactly
for sure, Jeannie. Thank you so much. That's the CBC's Jeannie Lee.